All right. May peace and power elevation be to all of you beautiful people out there. This is Tiffany coming through live in effect right here on the StreamYard. So if you are on my YouTube channel, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and share and hit the notification bell. If you are on my Facebook page, please make sure that you share this page too. So tonight's topic is dealing with sex trafficking, and what I'm gonna do is talk about the story of Chrystul Kizer, who happened to be a young lady that was a victim of sex trafficking from Wisconsin, and she was charged with killing her former sex trafficker at the age of 16. So she was given life in prison, but now she's free. So what I want to do is let's go back and look at the story of this young lady and how it all began, how she got to that point where she was incarcerated and things of that nature. And then we're going to read the article about, and then we're going to also look at President Trump. Well, the President Trump, he signed the executive order dealing with the sex trafficking. So we're gonna get into that. But let's go ahead and look at this young lady's story. Right. Go ahead and share my screen.
I believe the $1 million cash fine is appropriate.
12 News was there in court when $1 million bail was set for Chrystul Kizer, a walking teen charged with shooting, killing, and setting Randall Villar on fire at his Kenosha home last June. She was just 17 at the time.
And what do you think that people need to know about why he died?
The case now making national headlines, and in a jailhouse interview with the Washington Post, Kizer now alleges she killed Villar because he used her for sex trafficking. Supporters of Kizer say it was self-defense.
She had been trying to get out of the whatever arrangement that they had, and he was threatening to kill her.
In court last week, her attorney, a public defender, argued the murder falls under state law called affirmative defense, which acquits sex trafficking victims of certain crimes. But a judge disagreed, saying it only applies to prostitution or child trafficking cases.
You believe that she went there with a plan to kill Mr. Villar?
That's right.
From the start, Kenosha County District Attorney Mike Gravely says he's been pressured to drop all charges, but argues Villar's murder was premeditated and says she bragged about it after on social media.
And then during the course of the evening, she texts multiple people talking about how she is planning to do it, that she has Googled and that it's going to create a splatter.
Villar's house here has since been torn down, but the district attorney says the day they found his body was the same day they were about to charge him with child sex crimes.
I mean, it's ridiculous that the police knew what was going on with Villar and allowed it to continue.
If somebody commits crimes against you, even horrible crimes, that you aren't allowed to go and kill them in response.
All right. So that's the story of the young lady that was a part of sex trafficking. As you heard, the not the defense lawyer, but the prosecutor believed that she had intentions on killing this man. So he felt that it was premeditated, and saying that she bragged about it on Facebook and social media, stuff like that. Now, just recently, they had an incident in Milwaukee where a known sex trafficker, a house that was known for sex trafficking, there was protests going on, and the people started throwing bricks, rocks, all kinds of stuff, and they burnt down the house. So it was a case of two girls was missing, and eventually they were found, but a lot of people were speculating, right, that it was the house that they were inside of, because the house was known for sex trafficking. So with that being the case, they end up just going ahead and protest and burn down the house. There was no Amber Alert for those girls. So eventually they, like I said, they were found on the same day. Was it a day after? Yeah, they were found, and they were found safe and sound, and they was with their family. So real quick, a lot of people got to understand that sex trafficking is a serious business, okay? And you have a case of so many innocent children, especially females, that are caught up in this lifestyle. And, the sad part is you'll never know that they are trafficking victims. That's the part that you will never know. So, for example, like especially when you're at the airport, the workers, the employees, they may not take notice of that because they're not paying any attention. They're too busy doing their jobs. They don't know that the child is caught up with a person that is the sex trafficker. They don't know that they're being transported back and forth. So it's not always easy to spot them. And then if you also can recall the story of Brown. Sorry about that. She had to kill one of the guys, one of her traffickers, right at 16 years old. And she ended up serving approximately 18 years? No. I'm way ahead of myself. 15 years. She just got out last year or 2 years ago. She ended up serving she served about 13 years in prison. Yes, she served 13 years in prison, but she was supposed to got life. However, they gave her a clemency and let her go free. So I'm going to read the story about Chrystul Kizer, because now she's out on bail, and the bail was $400,000. So let me go ahead and show you the article, please, if you will. Okay, so here's a story about Chrystul Kizer, charged with killing her suspect sex trafficker, released from jail after groups raised $400,000 bail. And this comes from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. And here's the story right here. After nearly 2 years of incarceration in the Kenosha County Jail, child trafficking survivor Chrystul Kizer was released Monday after community activists raised her $400,000 bail. The case of Kizer, who shot and killed her suspected trafficker after a year of sexual abuse and violence, has drawn international attention from advocates who say she is a victim acting in self-defense and have campaigned for charges to be dropped. Her bail was raised by a combination of community groups that included the Chrystul Kizer Defense Committee, Chicago Community Bond Fund, Milwaukee Freedom Fund, and Survive and Punish. When Kizer was 16, she posted an ad on a website later seized by the FBI as a forum for prostitution. Kizer said she posted the advertisement to get money for school supplies and snacks. She didn't know who would respond since she was new to the site and had to have another girl show her how to use it. Let's stop right there. I want to stop at the part where she posted on the site. Hey, Candy, how you doing? Yes, it's necessary to speak on this subject, sister. Thank you for tuning in. So she posted an ad on the website just so she can get money for school supplies and snacks. Now, that statement alone should let us know that what was her living condition like. So that's an indication that there was a chance of this young lady growing up in poverty. Because if she has to advertise to get money for school and school supplies and snacks, that goes to say something. That goes to show that she grew up in a very extreme poverty household. Where it may not have been affordable, or her mother or whoever was raising her may not have been able to get her the basic things that she needed. So she thought that her way of getting money was to go ahead and advertise herself. But she didn't know that it was going to come with a major consequences. She didn't know that she was going to come across somebody that was going to more than likely try to kidnap her and kill her. And she was introduced by a friend. See, this is why parents have to monitor what their children doing online. You have to keep an eye on those cell phones. You got to keep an eye on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What's the other one? Snapchat. Whatever. You have to keep an eye on what your children are doing. You can't keep up with everything, but you got to know that this is how they'll get to these kids. This is how the traffickers, they'll do it. They use these social media websites and they disguise themselves, use anonymous names just so they can get their victim. But in this case, or you got a case where your kid, you might think your kid is on there talking to somebody, talking to their friends or whatever. But then turn around, they on there advertising. So we don't know what was her upbringing like. We don't know who her parents were at this point. We just know that this girl, based on the article, she was advertising herself just so she can get the basic things that she needs. And I don't want to hear about, well, she should have got her a job. Everybody can't get jobs. Not in capitalism. If that was the case, every last one of the people in our community would be working right now. It wouldn't be no homeless people on the streets if everybody can work. The condition, the environments that we're living in wouldn't be looking like this if everybody had a job. There would be no need for capitalism, because you forgot that capitalism is a rat race. And I'm not just saying that, capitalism alone, but particularly in America, it's a rat race. Everybody's competing to get to the top of the ladder. And if you come from a community that's impoverished, that is based on low income area, that has a lot of higher crime, chances are, if there's lack of jobs, lack of resources, whatever is out there that's available when it comes to monetary, when it comes to economics, if it's available, a person gonna go for it. So whether it be selling drugs, whether it be prostitution, whether it be gambling, if it's out there and there's dollar signs, there's money to be made, then chances are an individual that is extremely poor is going to go for that, because they're trying to get out of poverty. They trying to survive. And obviously with this little girl, she was trying to survive. Somebody put, reminds me of my cousin that was abused and neglected, that became a stripper at 14 to have money for food and clothes for her and her sibling. Very sad. That's very common. It is sad, but it's very common. So someone put that in the comment section, that their cousin was a stripper at 14 years old. Now, how did she get in the club? She had to lie about her age. Obviously, she had to lie about her age. She had to show some fake ID, because if they would have found out she was 14, they wouldn't probably let her be on that stripping pole. So she had to know somebody or had to get some form of connection in order to get inside the club. See, these are the things that people don't realize, that these young girls, in particular African-American girls who grow up poor, they either prostitute or they become stripper at a very young age. And those guys, or the people that go into these strip clubs, seeing these girls on the pole, they don't know that they sex trafficking victims. Yes, you got sex trafficking victims at strip clubs. They don't know that they are young and underage, and they can care less. They can care less about them being underage if they knew. All they care about is they want to see some ass, see some titties, see some pussy. Excuse my mannerism. That's all they care about. They want to see some girls shaking that ass. Or if she willing to get down and do a little, or if she willing to get down and do the thing in the bedroom. That's what they're caring about. So they can care less about her age. They can care less about that shit. Because they going in there just to have a good time. That the girls in there, they trying to survive. And many of them make a decent income for being strippers, by the way. Yeah, most of them make decent incomes as strippers. They do. But the point is, you're going to do whatever it takes for you to survive. You're going to do whatever it takes for you to survive. And then if you, the oldest sibling, and have to cater to the younger siblings, you have to take care of them, right? You have to make sure they are fed and clothed, right? You're going to go down that route, whether it be selling drugs, whether it be prostitution, whether it be gang banging, whether it be stripping. You're going to go down those routes. Because you got a family to feed, and you got to feed yourself. You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world out here. It's a dog-eat-dog world. And I also, one of these days, I want to bring up a story about a little boy. He was also from, I think he was from Milwaukee or Chicago, one of those towns. He went by the name of Little Yummy. Little Yummy. At 11 years old, he was murdered by other gang members because he was trying to prove that he was down and that he was loyal and he would do whatever it takes to earn that respect and get a rank. Turned around and shot out to the crowd of people and killed the innocent girl that was 14. And he turned around, and so the gang members, they end up killing him. They didn't care if he was 11 years old. But that's going to be a topic one day, hopefully, that I'm going to focus on. But let me go ahead and get back to this article. All right. Righty. Okay, so here it is. All right, Kenosha resident Randall P. Bowler III was the first to contact Kizer. At the time they met, Bowler was already under investigation by the Kenosha Police Department for sexual conduct with underage girls as young as 12 years old. So this man that she killed, right? He was already under investigation for having sexual relation with girls that are as young as 12. So this man was already a pedophile. He was already a pedophile. He had a relationship with the young girls. So he was already under investigation. But let's continue with the article. He was 33. From Milwaukee to Kenosha, Bowler physically and sexually abused Kizer over a period of months. Police found evidence that he was abusing multiple underage black girls. Wait a minute, hold on. Let's read that again. Police found evidence that he was abusing multiple underage black girls. So she wasn't the only one. She was not the only one. She was not the only one. He was doing it to other girls prior to her. But she happened to be the one to take that man out. And then it goes on to say that in February 2018, he was arrested and charged and released without bail. In 2018, he was arrested and charged and released without bail. He done went through all of this. Police don't, wait a minute. And see, this is the part that really pisses me off. The police found enough evidence that he was abusing multiple underage black girls, but they still let him out without bail. Why did they not? No trials, no nothing. No trial. You found evidence, but you tell me this man did not go on trial. No trials, no nothing. But you let this man be released without bail. That's the first mistake. That's the biggest mistake on the law enforcement part. So I blame the law enforcement on this. I blame the judicial system on this. I blame the judicial system because they were not doing their job. You know this man was messing around with underage black girls and you found the evidence and you let him get out to take advantage of another young black girl. But this black girl happened to take his ass out of here. In June 2018, when Kizer was 17, she shot and killed Bowler, set his Kenosha house on fire, and fled in his BMW. Her bail was originally set at $1 million. According to the news release, when Kizer's case ends, a majority of the return bail money will be used to establish a national bail fund for criminalized survivors of domestic and sexual violence. The fund will be under the direction of Survived and Punished and housed at the National Bail Fund Network. You know what? Let me say something. The part where it stated that in June 2018, when Kizer was 17, she shot and killed Bowler, set his Kenosha house on fire, and fled in his BMW. You know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him because he was a well-known pedophile. This man was a well-known pedophile. You let this motherfucker out of jail, and then he take advantage of another young girl. I don't blame him. I don't blame the fact that she killed this motherfucker. I don't blame the fact that she burnt his damn house down. I don't motherfucking blame her. I don't. Because he probably would have had assaulted her and killed her. He would have ended up killing that girl. I don't blame him. I don't feel bad. He deserved that shit. You done assault many other young girls, and then you done beat this girl and raped her repeatedly. Then on top of that, the judicial system let this man out of jail after they found all the evidence. He still got out of jail without bail. But you got to put this bail out on this young lady right here. But there was no bail for this motherfucker. Y'all put $1 million bail out for this girl. But this motherfucker who assaulted her was out on bail. Was out without bail. He didn't have to, there was no bail money for him, so they let him out. What kind of shit is that? Do you want to know why we don't give a fuck about the damn police? Do you want to know why we criticize the judicial system? Because y'all let the wrong motherfuckers out on the damn streets. You let the wrong motherfuckers walk the goddamn streets. And then you expect for people not to say nothing. You expect for people to be more civilized and no civil unrest. Well, fuck that bullshit. That's bullshit right there. Let's continue with the article. Survive and Punish is a national coalition that includes survivors, organizers, victim advocates, legal advocates, and attorneys, policy experts, scholars, and currently and formerly incarcerated people. Additionally, a percentage of the return money will be donated to Milwaukee Freedom Fund for its ongoing bail fund. Chrystul Kizer's Defense Committee is also collecting donations to continue to support her legal defense, living expenses, and ongoing costs of treatment and care. Mia Noel of the Milwaukee Freedom Fund said this collaborative effort shows what is possible for the community. The better world that protesters are struggling for is one that protects, not punishes, young Black survivors like Chrystul. Noel said in the news release, her case deepens the current calls for justice and the need to keep fighting to transform our society. While the system designed to hurt Black, Latinx, Indigenous, and people of color communities still exists, bail funds and mutual aid projects are a necessity. I want to say this. Shout out to those organizations. Shout out to those organizations and the people in the community that raised the money up. They didn't get to $1 million, but they got 400 grand, and that was enough to get her out. Shout out to you guys. You guys did a tremendous work because you put effort, you put your hard-working money together and were able to donate the funds to these organizations to be able to make it possible for this young lady to be bailed out. Kizer case has attracted attention nationally and internationally. As of this week, a fundraiser for Kizer has raised more than $63,000 over the course of 136 days. A Change.org petition to free Chrystul that has circulated widely on social media has received nearly 1 million signatures. Hundreds of letters, encouraging words, artwork, and books were sent to her jail. And I hope she got some knowledge. Cell in Kenosha. Even more support posts online on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, each sharing the same message: free Chrystul. The support on social media also called on supporters to write letters, make phone calls, and send emails to Kenosha County District Attorney Michael Gravely, asking him to drop the charges against Kizer, who is now 19. According to the petition, Chrystul resisted Bowler's attempts to forcibly engage in sexual activity. During this struggle, Chrystul shot Bowler in an act of self-defense. Chrystul has been charged wrongfully for surviving violence. She is being criminalized for staying alive. Okay, some groups that have signed the letters are the Free Chrystul Defense Committee, African American Roundtable Milwaukee, Black Youth Projects 100, Milwaukee Chapter, Chicago Alliance Against Sexual Exploitation, Chicago Community Bond Fund, Freedom Incorporation, Hmong American Women's Association, Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin. I was surprised, Planned Parenthood. I'm pretty surprised. Those letters have been filed away in Gravely's office. We've kept a lot of them, Gravely said, but then there's a lot of personalized emails as well, he said. No trial date for Kizer has been set. The case is scheduled for a status conference in September. Gravely said a plea offer to reduce charges from first-degree international homicide to felony murder is on the table. He said he has responded to some emails and letters, some that have mentioned expertise in the case, or some from Kenosha locals who have questions. What I have found in interaction with people who have emailed me, they have very specific things they know about the case that I assume advocates of Miss Kizer have put into petition or a fact sheet. Gravely said they are using the facts that they believe are the most supportive of the position they want to take, which is to dismiss the case. The prosecution is only allowed to talk about the facts of the case when it is relevant and in specific hearings, something he said he is finding difficult when talking with those who contact him. All right, and then it goes on to say, I'm not allowed to bring up facts that are not brought up in hearings. I'm not allowed to respond in a public fashion while the case is pending, he said. My interaction with people personally is that they have not known a lot of the facts that I have the benefit of knowing, he said. I spent more than 60 hours going through this case. In the reduced charge of felony murder, Kizer would be pleading to killing Voller in the course of a robbery. It would not carry the mandatory life sentence that goes with first-degree intentional homicide, but still has the potential for decades in prison. Gravely said no one involved in the case pictures Kizer going to prison for life, even if convicted of first-degree intentional homicide. A judge could make her eligible for supervised release in the community in the future. If she's convicted of a homicide charge that is currently in there, Miss Kizer, at her young age, and with the offenses that Mr. Voller committed against her earlier, she is never a person who will be incarcerated for decades. That's not going to happen in this case, Gravely said. And so that was the lawyer that spoke, that made that statement. So now, let's get to the part that Donald Trump had signed an order about human trafficking. All right, so give me a moment. I'm gonna play the video. Now, as much as we don't like Trump, and he's doing a lot of fucked up shit, okay? Many of us don't like Trump, but we can say that he has done some good things so far. We can give him some credit for the things that he have done so far. And this is one of them. All right, here we go, right here. And this is coming from ustoday.com, their website.
I want to thank you all for being here as we mark the 20th anniversary of Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Very important. 20 years ago, this nation took a historic step to protect the victims of this form of modern-day slavery here in the United States and all around the world. My administration is 100% committed to eradicating human trafficking from the earth. An estimated 25 million people around the world today are being held captive, manipulated, and abused by human traffickers. In 2018 alone, the National Human Trafficking Hotline identified over 23,000 human trafficking victims in the United States. 65% of these victims were women. More than 1 in 5 were children. Human traffickers prey on their most vulnerable citizens and people. They're vicious, they're violent. My administration is fighting these monsters, persecuting and prosecuting them, and locking them away for a very, very long time. We've had a tremendous track record, the best track record in a long time. This order expands prevention education programs, promotes housing opportunities for survivors, and prioritizes the removal of child sexual abuse material from the internet. And furthermore, it takes the vital step of designating a full-time position here at the White House dedicated solely to combating human trafficking so people know how important it is. We look forward to launching these principles in the coming months. We will not rest until we've stopped every last human trafficker and liberated every last survivor.
All right, as you can see, President Trump have signed the order to combat human trafficking. He has signed the order to combat human trafficking. Now, again, the question I may ask, and I'm not here to defend him, okay? All right, because all the politicians are crooked. But with the previous presidents that came before him, his predecessors, right? How many of them ever took the time out to sign an order that's dealing with sex trafficking? How many of them ever took the time out to actually address these things? So while Obama was too busy addressing the issue regard to or was signing bills to give gay people right to get married, to give people the right to have reassignment surgery, to give people the right to have their own bathrooms, and to be able to change their identity on their birth certificate. When he ever took the time out to do something about sex trafficking? What about President Bush? When have they ever signed for sex trafficking? When he ever did it? What about Clinton? When has he ever signed for sex trafficking? When have anybody took the time out to even address this issue? So I could say that Trump have done some positive things, and those things have been looked over by other presidents that came before him. So that part of me, I can respect what he have done. I can respect the fact that he done made sure that the HBCUs get funding permanently. I can respect the fact that he also signed an order to about prison reforms, so like former prisoners can get out, or people who were wrongfully incarcerated can get out and be with their family. Then he also signed this bill to combat against sex trafficking. Now, that's not going to be easy. However, it's a necessary step. The point that I want to make is that as a people, we got to take this kind of stuff seriously. We got to pay attention to this stuff. Because do y'all know that the sex trafficking business is $1 billion business? It's $1 billion business, underground business. It is $1 billion underground business. So I'm just letting y'all know. And they're around us every day. We just don't even know. We don't pay attention because we're always on the move. We don't even know it. It's around us. It's around in our community. It's around in the business area, business establishment, downtown, at airports, bus station. It's everywhere. It's all around you. So hopefully in the future, this young lady, Chrystul, I'm hoping that they can fully drop the charges against her, so where she don't have to serve any time in prison because she was in defense for her life. And they also got previous record of this man who was a well-known pedophile assaulting young girls that was underage. And I'm gonna say it, and I'm keep on saying it. That's the judicial system fault, and that's the law enforcement fault. They are the blame for that one, for letting this man out of prison. And he made his fate. That's all I got to say. He made his fate. And that fate came through that young lady that he was abusing on. And she put him in a rude awakening. And that's what he was in it for, a rude awakening. So please, parents or anybody, if you got teenagers and small children, educate them about sex trafficking. Make them aware. It's not an easy conversation, but it has to be talked about. At some point, if you got kids that's in high school, that's in college, you need to have this conversation with them. You need to sit down and talk to them. So, anyways, that's all I wanted to say for tonight. Thank you guys for watching, for those of you that are watching. And if you are on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this channel. Okay? Subscribe, share, and like, and hit the notification bell. Please do that. And if you are on Facebook, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Not subscribe. Make sure you share this video. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching. So be easy. May peace and power elevation be to all you. Until next time. Thank you. Deuces. All right, then. Take it easy.